don't know the power of sci-fi radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
You sound like an alien.
I know, I tried.
Hey, everybody.
I just don't have the second set of jaws that pop out.
I know, right? Well, I didn't specifically mean like a xenomorph or anything. It's like, just like an alien creature. But if that's the direction you're going in, that's okay. Hey, everybody. This is sci-fi.radio. I am Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is just Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And we are here for Docking Bay 94. You could also be watching us on YouTube or on Twitch or on Facebook, I suppose. We're all over those places.
Yeah.
And any of those are perfectly acceptable. Although it occurs to me that I probably ought to open the chat so I can see what people are doing.
There you go. That's an idea.
Woohoo. Right.
Turn this one on too. Boop. There it
That
goes.
said.
Dawn! I see Dawn right away.
Excellent. Anyway, this is the show that we do every Thursday night, Docking Bay 94, as the robot sings in the background. And we're glad to be here and have your company.
Woohoo.
Yeah. And Colleen sounds like she's questioning that.
I am questioning it.
It's
I'm
like-
questioning everything lately.
It's like a woohoo, but it's a so woohoo.
Right.
And I should warn you guys, like right now, just right off the bat, that we had a power outage today, and our internet has been up and down. So this will either go off without a hitch, or you're gonna lose us like 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I've been trying to work with the internet
Yay!
going up and down, and it's been
Right.
super good times.
We are flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Hey, Vicky.
Or
Hey,
somebody's
Lori.
pants.
Hey, Sam.
Flying by the seat of your pants is
David!
really hard on the denim. That's all I can say. So,
I know.
alrighty. Welcome
My
to
goodness.
another week. I hope you guys had a good week.
Yay! It's been interesting.
Yeah, it has been interesting.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my goodness.
What do we want to start with? We want to start with Rosella's birthday?
Sure.
Sure.
Happy birthday, Rosella.
Yeah. Yep. We went, let's see here. I went with Rose and David and Owen and Sparrow and Steffi to, we went out to Inland Empire, Ontario Lake area and whatnot, and then out to, another place afterwards. But, the place we started at was a, soup plantation like place.
Oh, so a buffet.
Which it's like, yeah, it's a the people that like Soup Plantation went under, and then the people bought it, reopened it. It's like Soup and Fresh or something like that. I think it was called.
Soup
And it
and
was decent.
fresh.
It wasn't terrible, but very. It was still set up exactly the same way. So everything was still being made, and everything, So it was just like eating Soup Plantation. It was just kind of weird, but it was like. That was Rosella's favorite place to eat. Strangely enough, out of everywhere we got, whoever went as a family or anything, that was the one place she loved going to the most. Then we went out to a tea store in Temecula area, and there was a whole thing here because the idea is that. Rosella was not told all the other information that's coming up. She was just told that that Owen's like, there's a really cool tea place. I want you to see it for your birthday. We're all going to go out there. We got to the tea place, and it was just like, it's just a store, and it was a little shop, and like Old Town, whatever it is, Temecula area. And of course, Roselle is really upset and sad because, like, what's the deal? Why for my birthday we just came here?
Well, and I disappointed
and
her
David,
accidentally because she sent me a note. She's like, "Are you on the air today? It's my birthday." And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. It's the weekend. I'm not on the air on weekends. I couldn't play any music on her." She's like, "I'm here and I'm listening." I'm like, "And I'm not playing music. I'm so sorry." Because, of course, I do everybody's birthday. And I'm always glad to play music for anybody's birthday who wants to let me know. And so, so I feel bad about that. Sorry about that, Rose.
Poor kid. Yeah, it's okay. So we went to this place. Before we headed towards the tea place, we actually went to to Bass Pro Shop, and that's where I sent you that picture of the shark that's got the human up on the rope thing.
Was he a shark or a giant tuna? I thought he was he looked like Charlie Tuna.
Something
to me.
He's probably is. I don't know, but that's where he was. That's where that was.
That's
so
funny.
We'll have to go back out there sometime when we actually have our outfits all together.
That'll be awesome. I'm in.
Yeah. We're in there and walking around. I ran to go to the bathroom. Okay, we got to go, whatever. And then we got out there to the tea shop, and Rose is like, "Why do we rushing get here?" And I'm like, "Oh, we have to go from here to there because we're going to your grandmother's house." We weren't going to her grandmother's house. But we ended up actually at a place called Batch Mead. It's a shop that makes, there's only 2 shops in all of Temecula that make mead, strangely enough, and they're right behind one another. One's behind the other. It's really odd. Same center and everything.
That's bizarre.
But the one we went to is called Batch Mead, and went in there and that's where the party was. She was surprised, and everyone was there.
Well, that's fun.
So she was finally happy at that point.
Terrific.
Yeah.
I have to say
it was
that
interesting.
Surprise parties can be really tough. Where Colleen threw a surprise party for me once, and had a friend distract me by driving me all around the city and doing a bunch of stuff and whatever, so that when I got back, there was a surprise party. But the problem was that he was driving me all around the city. So by the time I got back for the surprise party, I was a little nauseous from being in the car driving around.
Yeah.
Because he was not a good driver.
Exactly.
So, you never know how that's gonna work out. I'm glad she was excited.
David driving her around. It was hilarious. So.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna say hey to Alan and hey to Young Lee.
Huh? Yep.
Anybody else over?
And Alan.
Yes, hey to Alan and hey to Young Lee. I don't think you heard me.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Oh, I didn't see that part. Sorry.
Right.
Gregor's tuned in.
I see the Lady A and Gregor.
Sweet.
Alrighty.
So yeah, but the place out there, which is the Old Town area, I kind of want to go back because it reminds me of an old mountain town kind of deal, So all the old shops, and they had a lot of buildings that still had all the old shake siding on them from way back from probably the 1800s or something. So it was kind of neat. I just want it'd be neat to go back eventually, when it's not a rush to try to take care of somebody's birthday.
Cool.
So I definitely want to go back to that shop, that Bass Pro, because they have that out front.
That's
take your picture
pretty funny. It's the fish revenge was definitely pretty cool. We're gonna have to make a list of all the places we need to go once we've got our Jaws costumes together.
Oh, I know. Yeah, totally. As for as that was it for that. The other thing was we got this is a fairly new thing that someone had come up with, but it's a little it's a wooden box. It's much like it looks almost like how they did it, like a puzzle box, but it is not. It's just a box. It has a groove with a lid that'll slide in and out. So you can slide out a portion of the lid out. And so the box, and the idea is you put little dog treats in there and you put it close back. But the thing about it is that the top of it is like grip tape sandpaper.
Oh.
so that you put the treat in there and the dog will scratch like crazy and it'll wear their claws down
Right.
instead of taking them somewhere. Because taking Ahsoka somewhere to get her nails trimmed,
Expensive.
yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's expensive because she's got to be knocked out to do it because she doesn't want it. She is super, little psycho dog at that point.
That's funny.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, well, how am I going to make this? So I basically Mickey Moused it by putting these little long rail things to go out the back, and so it would stand it up like, set it up like a book that's leaning back slightly. I don't know the best way to describe it. Like not straight up, a little back.
Yeah,
and,
I get it.
So the rails, and I tried it out with her. Oh boy! And then she just did it and put her whole weight on it, and the rails just bent completely back.
Wow.
But I was having trouble bending it with my hands. She's all blonk. Like, what? Jeez. So I let her do it a few times, and I took it away, and I drilled some holes in the back and put the rails back permanently, so it's more like a little sled now. And we tried it again today, and she was doing great. She was just knocking the dang thing over so the door would slide open. So I'm like, all right. So then the third thing was putting thing at the end. So now if she hits it, it won't slide back, and the door shouldn't slide open. It's just a big process. It was like, it's $30 was how much the stupid thing cost. And it's really meant, I think, for a small little dog like a Chihuahua or like a Terrier or something, and not really Ahsoka, I guess. So,
Huh.
yeah.
You think they would have
and
put
Aubrey's like,
that on
do
the
whatever you want.
instructions? You think
Huh?
they would have put that on the instructions, the weight of the dog that they had in mind for it?
You would think. I think, and it's like, it's really light as pine wood. The wood's really weak, like really light and easily easily breakable, spongy pine. And I'm like, I guess if I were to build this myself, it'd be out of like oak or something.
Right,
I don't know,
mahogany,
a little more
something sturdy. Yeah.
Heavier. Yeah.
Well, but
because if you leave it as it is and have it on the ground, you've got to wedge it into something, or the dog will just destroy everything.
But they
move it.
want the dogs to destroy them so that you buy more of them, and it's like if you buy squeaky dog toys and the dog shreds the toy, very often when you look at the little squeaker inside there, it has a little message going, "Congratulations, your dog won. Go buy a new one." And so I'm sure that's the end game. It's like they don't want to make something that's going to last as long as possible. They just want something to last long enough that the dog had fun with it, and you might want to buy another one.
Yeah. Yes, more clamps. When I first put the rails on it, and she bent them, like they bent back just the way I wanted them to be bent before she really bent them. I had used those little, I don't know what you call them, but it's basically you put them in your window when it has the little wing nut.
The thumb
you
screw
twist to hold your window shut.
It's a window lock. Yeah. Interesting. Although I have to say, and for you guys listening, our friend Gregor's solution to everything is in fact more clamps. Yes. And in fact, they dropped a little Christmas gift off for us, and it came with a clamp. And I need to send a picture to Gregor because I applied the clamp to Chopper, his head.
Oh no!
But thinking about clamps, you can get, and I have over here, some very long steel bar clamps, and you could actually embed those into the ground or something, and then lock the box onto the clamp, and it probably wouldn't bend or go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it was just something we were putting in the kitchen for to fiddle with. So the newest thing that I put on, we'll see what happens. I put the wood glue and put the little knob thing on there to keep it from rolling over for her to get it open easily. We'll see if it works out. If not, I'll figure something out, or just do something else. But I'm just having fun, like going, okay, what can I do this time? What can I do this time? Because she's a damn smart little dog, you know.
Some of those animal puzzles are really fascinating. And in fact, we have a Buy Nothing Facebook group for our neighborhood. And somebody posted like a
Yeah.
bunch of those going, here's a treat puzzle for cats. Here's a treat puzzle for dogs. And I'm looking at them going, that looks like something I would mount to my car. That looks really cool. Of course, yeah, I should just get one of those mounted to the car, and if the kids can figure it out, then they can have a little treat out of the side of the car.
Okay, hey to Kelly,
Yeah.
hey to Jamie, hey to Phil,
Yep.
hey to Matthew.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody keeps popping
But
in.
yeah, it's been fun I getting to go over, from Aubrey getting to go ahead. Yes, do whatever. It costs me this much. I can't return it because, well, we were going to return it, but we had it up on the counter, which we thought Ahsoka couldn't get to.
Whoops.
That's the first mistake, because she could, and she's like, "Oh, there's cardboard. I can play with that." So the box is totally destroyed. We're like, all right, well, we can't return it. So then I got to fiddle around with it.
It sounds
So
like
we see
fun
how
was
this,
had
how
all
this is going
around.
to keep going.
That's funny. I was rather amused to see
funny.
that we share an interest, Aubrey and I, in City of Angels, the musical. I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty fun. That seemed like a left field kind of thing. I'm like, really? Wow.
Yeah. She's, ever since I've known her. So, put that in perspective.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, the show's an
She's loved that musical,
old
so.
show. Yeah,
Yeah.
sadly, by the time it came around, I was like out of school, and my opportunities
Okay.
for doing that show had kind of faded. But yeah, it was pretty good show.
So
Yeah.
we, Sean and I did
Pretty awesome.
pretty much two things this week. One of them was we began taking a survey of mint flavored shakes that are available to us locally.
And this is an ad hoc
Okay.
kind of survey. It started because Girl Scout cookies became available to the public, and on the day that happened, which I think was like last Friday, Colleen,
I don't know.
we went to
Sure.
Wendy's, and our local Wendy's is in a gas station. We went to Wendy's and we got
Isn't
their
that bizarre?
Girl Scout cookie frosty. And so we got a chocolate frosty swirled with Girl Scout cookie stuff. And that's what kind of started this. And Colleen, I see, has made a pretty extensive list.
Yeah, if you go to the very bottom of our document,
Yeah.
it's a list of every fast food place that offers a mint shake that's local to us.
Like right now. And so
Huh.
it's mint shake season largely because McDonald's traditionally has the Shamrock Shake, which is okay, but it's obviously like soft serve with mint flavor in it. And for Colleen's palate,
Okay.
she's like, this tastes really fake.
yeah. Yuck.
And for me, because I am less discerning, I'm like, Shamrock Shake. But I do appreciate shakes that want to do it better. And I love mint ice cream so much. It's like, for the most part, my go-to at any ice cream place, because if you screw up mint chocolate chip, you are not a good ice cream place. It's just-
So the places that we have yet to try
Been around for a while.
this year as part of our mint shake survey, because we did you describe what the Wendy's thin mint shake is like?
I didn't say what it was like. I said what it contained, which is like a frosty with a swirl of chocolate syrup that contains like the grit of.
So that swirl was actually what they did was they took the cup and they coated the interior of the cup walls with the syrup that had the chocolate coating in it,
Right.
the chocolate crumbs, and then they put a Frosty in the middle of it.
Yes. And we tried it two ways. The first way we did it was we drank, we Frosties are very thick, so you can't really drink them with a straw. So we ate it with a spoon using like a scoop of Frosty and some of the chocolate sauce, and we did it that way. And then when we got about halfway through it, we blended it all together to try it as a mixed drink.
It's better the way they serve it. It's better not mixed up, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was, I'm trying to find a picture here for you of it.
Yeah. Because
So while Sean looks for that
Wendy's doesn't
picture,
normally
I
have anything
will
but chocolate.
say how the the Arby's Andy's mint shake was. So we were going to an event on Tuesday where we needed to have a quick dinner on the way there. And so even though Arby's is not my favorite place, I said, let's go to Arby's because they have this Andy's mint shake. And theirs had a much more fake flavor to it, like a Shamrock Shake flavor, and it was a green shake. And then they had crumbled Andy's mints into it.
And
but the problem was
it was the same color as the Andes mints. So if you've ever had those, which are like
that
chocolate
color.
mint chocolate, it's that same very pale color.
So
oh wow.
the problem was is that all of the crumbled Andes mints were all at the bottom of the cup, and you couldn't really drink them in the straw. Like I think they were supposed to be throughout the shake, but the shake was thin enough that they all just fell to the bottom. And ours, Sean's showing the Wendy's shake right now. Ours had much more syrup in it than these are showing.
It did. It had a lot more syrup, and interestingly,
which was a good thing.
And to their credit, they did not add like green coloring or anything to it. It was
Well, they just took their standard chocolate or vanilla Frosty, whichever one you wanted, and added the mint flavored syrup, which was good.
And so that the Arby's one,
Oh God.
that's the Arby's one, and except of course it comes in a plastic cup instead. And so it's mint on its own, all kind of swirled together, and then it has the Andes mint pieces in there. And the Andes are just those little, wafer thin kind of after dinner mint things.
But you end up with this big
the color of the
clump.
drink.
You end up at the end with this big clump of broken up Arby's Andes mints at the bottom.
Yeah.
And you can't get them through the straw, so you have to tip the cup up and risk like all of it pouring over your face.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the best, and it wasn't as good as I remembered it being, because last time I had it, I went, man, this is really good. And either we got a really weak one, or it's just not as good as I remember, which is also possible.
So the places that we have not been yet, Five Guys has a vanilla shake, or I guess a chocolate shake if you wanted, that they doctor with a candy cane crush topping called the Candy Cane Crunch.
Oh.
McDonald's Shamrock Shake, which Sean already talked about.
Right. That's the standard one.
Dairy Queen Mint Oreo Blizzard. Jack in the Box Oreo Mint
there you go.
Shake. Sonic Mint Chocolate Chip Overload. And Burger King, actually, Oreo Cookie Peppermint. So we will have to try some more of these and let you guys know. So far, Wendy's is winning.
Right. Well, and also just in a weird side note, you can also get at McDonald's a McFlurry that is Oreo Shamrock Shake. So it's kind of like a Girl Scout.
Oh.
It's kind of like the Girl Scout cookie one, because it's basically they've taken the Shamrock Shake that's mint, they've thrown Oreo cookies into it, and it should,
I imagine they have bigger pieces of Oreo cookies in it, though.
I imagine they do. And it's also meant to be eaten with a spoon. So that's the thing. But Colleen was saying that somebody online got one.
A friend of mine who lives in New York said that her son got a Shamrock Shake. And I don't know if this was this year or last year, but it was lime flavored. and not mint flavored. And
Lime?
it had
What?
Oreos in it. So it was lime flavored and weird. And so we did a quick search to see, has there ever been any lime flavoring Shamrock Shake? The original Shamrock Shakes were lime flavored.
Ugh.
Not with chunks of Oreo, but they were lime flavored. So we don't know whether the McDonald's that she went to in New York was doing some sort of a throwback thing where they said, you know, the original Shamrock Shake and it was lime flavored, or whether something else weird happened.
Well, and looking at McDonald's, they have in the past had groovy lime McFlurries, and so I'm wondering, like, did somebody get the wrong green
It could have been that.
ad thing?
I don't know.
But that said, like, I'm looking at something from 2016. I'm like, how old would that stuff have been
Yeah.
if it's 2016?
I meant, because I guess citrus works if it's cold enough. Huh. No, maybe just citrus flavoring.
Not if you're expecting to have lime, though.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like, because citrus tends to curdle milk. So if it's got to be fake citrus.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Weird.
Well,
You
and
see what I mean saying?
there would
Yeah.
be no surprise that
I mean,
anything at McDonald's is fake.
it's all gonna be fake.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to try some of these other shakes. Jack in the Box always has consistently good shakes, so I expect that one to be pretty high up on the list. And the Shamrock Shake's gonna fall
Yeah.
probably somewhere in the middle towards the end, just because it's like the baseline of
Okay.
it. And at this point, like even though the review I wrote of the Wendy's one posited the Arby's one as being really good and one of my favorites, I have to rethink that now because the last one was not that great.
Yeah.
I put it below the Shamrock Shake.
I also
drag.
I don't expect the McDonald's one to be very good, but then I don't like McDonald's ice cream that much. It's not. I mean, Jack in the Box uses real ice cream.
Yes, and
I
McDonald's
expect the
uses
Jack in the
soft
Box
serve.
one
Yeah.
to be the bomb.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably going to be really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Surprised Carl's doesn't have one.
You surprised where?
Carl's
Carl's.
Jr.
Carl's. I didn't come up with one in my search, so they could.
Weird. Yeah, maybe they don't care.
I don't see when they have in the past had
Weird.
a mint Oreo shake.
Carl's isn't really known for their shakes
Okay.
though either.
No, they're not. And this article is
They usually use
from
ice cream, too.
2008. So
Usually, what, Jeff?
They use ice cream as well for
Ah.
Carl's.
Okay then.
they have had mint shakes as recently as 2021. Although this may have just been in New Zealand.
Well, see, there you go. Okay, gosh darn it.
Nice.
Oh my no. This has to be a joke. There's a thing that says Carl's Jr. had for one weekend an avocado milkshake.
You know,
What?
people put avocado in desserts all the time, and it's just gross.
They were apparently testing it in Palm Springs, California, from April 19th to 20th,
Yeah.
2024.
I mean, I can
we
see
had
the
a
date shakes, but avocado?
we had a contest at work once where everybody was supposed to bring in a homemade pie, and somebody brought in an avocado pie. No, and
Right then.
it tasted like weird lemon avocado mix. It was very bizarre.
It's like they were trolling you.
Weird. Yeah, yeah,
I don't think they were though.
Hmm.
So
yeah.
Wacky.
I actually ate, well, Gregor, I ate dinner before the show. I'm not sure about Colleen and Sean, but I did.
We actually
Oh, we
all
did.
ate dinner. Colleen made
Yeah,
IKEA
this is just one of those fun
meatballs.
subjects.
So, and I was so hungry, like I had a lot of them, and so we had a proper dinner. But
Yeah.
There you go, see?
mashed potatoes
just
and
our
broccoli
document.
too. So Tuesday, the reason why we were needing fast food on Tuesday is because we went up to the Pantages Theater to catch Harry Potter and the Cursed Child,
Oh, yeah.
which it had really amazing special effects. Like, they did a lot of magic tricks that were supposed to be like, you know, the magicians doing things.
Right. It was the wizard's world, and so like there was one that was kind of really cool where Harry gets griped at because he's working at the Ministry of Magic, and he gets griped at that his desk is messy, and he's like, fine, and he's like, poof, and his papers organize on the desk and stuff. I mean, things like that were really pretty clever.
For those of you that don't know, the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is set like
19 years.
I was going to say 20 years after the last book, which is book 7.
Yeah.
And it is the story of Harry's second son and his friends that he makes at Hogwarts.
Right. And Albus Severus Potter. And it's, you know, he has his own problems being at Hogwarts. And Harry goes through the problems that every parent has, which was like, school was like the best time of my life, and it was great, it was amazing. And then his kid is like not having that experience at all. And so there's like a huge disconnect between them. And then, of course, there's adventure and shenanigans and whatever. I have to say that when this play first came out, and in most of the markets that it came out in, it was the West End in London, it was on Broadway, it went to Japan, things like that. What they did is they split the play into 2 2.5-hour segments. And so on night 1, like you'd come Tuesday and see part 1, and you'd come Wednesday and see part 2, or you'd go to a matinee on Saturday or Sunday and you would see part 1, go have dinner, come back and see part 2.
Oh my God, I can't imagine seeing both of those.
Right?
In one day.
It's absolutely insane. And so what they did, and I think this was a response to COVID. I think they took the opportunity when things were shut down for COVID to combine the two of them and make it about a 3-hour-long play, and with an intermission in the middle. Much better, much more acceptable.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of dull time. You didn't find it going too slowly, which was great. The performances were really good, although I had to warm to a couple of them. A couple of them kind of started out a little rocky for me, but that's kind of normal for me too at plays, because I'll sit there and go, I totally would have done that differently, which is like this sort of actor in me. But it was I don't know, how did you like it, Colleen? I feel like I might have liked it more than you.
I really so first of all, I had read the book of the play when it first came out.
So you knew what was coming.
And I knew what it was about and what was coming, and I hated it. I hated the book. Mm-hmm. So I was really there to see like the magic, which was done much better than I thought it would be. I was very impressed with that. But I do have to say that there is a trope that the author used when she invented her characters that I am so sick to death of that Sean mentioned at the intermission, which is that Hermione, as an adult, was bossy. And calling an adult woman bossy infuriated me. And I spent the entire second half of the play fuming that that this trope was still a thing and that women are being infantilized like this. It's not worth it to, I don't know.
Well, which I feel bad about, because actually Hermione was much better in the second act. My biggest problem was maybe that I had sort of framed it badly, where I didn't like how screechy she was. And I had a similar problem with with some other characters where I thought their portrayals were just like a little too cartoony and over the top. And Hermione was one of them. But in the second act, she was much more, I don't know, she matched the rest of the cast better, I guess, and didn't stand out in a weird way. So I
didn't notice her standing out in a weird way, like to begin with. However, the trope was still used heavily by the author. And it sucks. It's not.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's not okay.
Well, and so there's a whole big gray area here. So this was part of a package that we bought for a whole bunch of plays. And it's not a play that we went specifically that we wanted to see, although part of me wanted to see it purely because we have a friend who worked this show on Broadway. And I kind of wanted to see it from that aspect because our friend Hugh did a lot of the automation and things for scene changes and whatnot. And I kind of wanted to see like what he was involved in just out of a curiosity. But the fact that it was J.K. Rowling is a problem. Going through, and I have here actually our playbill from it. It was interesting to see which of the actors identified themselves as queer being in the production. And we were actually talking earlier on the show this morning and thinking, they should have cast Dolores Umbridge as, a trans actor, which would have been awesome.
That would have been amazing.
Which would have been great, right? And so you walk this fine line between, I'm very happy that everybody in this show got work and that they're working and that they're traveling the country and they're doing whatever. I'm not happy that J.K. Rowling might be making money off of it. And, we didn't buy any of the swag. We didn't get T-shirts. We didn't buy wands or scarves or pens or shot glasses or whatever they were selling.
Yeah.
And we just sort of accepted it as part of the thing. But like I said, I'm extremely happy that all of those very talented people in the show have work. Totally. And so, I certainly don't want to deny anybody the opportunity to have their livelihood. And it was a good cast. I thought they did a really good job with it.
I would have to say that that the magic tricks that they did were wonderful. They were enchanting and magical, and even having grown up as my father was a magician, and so I grew up as part of seeing that around my house, and my dad was a member of the Magic Castle, so we went there a lot, and a lot of them I was like, how'd they do that?
And the thing I appreciated about it was that in almost like musical theater fashion, and of course this wasn't musical theater, there were no songs or anything, but when they went into an illusion, it made sense and it enhanced the scene. And a lot of times as it happened, it was such a surprise that it happened that you were enchanted by it, as opposed to the winding you up and then showing you a cool thing.
Right. You weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
Almost any time it happened, you were like, what?
Yeah, there was a library that had a really good scene in it where lots of stuff happened that you were like, holy crap, that was cool.
One thing they did overdo a little bit was they all had these fabulous cloaks, like magicians with cloaks, or the school costumes for the kids. And the first magic trick they did was that when the kids came through the barrier, their school clothes became the cloaks. So like the cloaks appeared as if from nowhere.
Right. They went from street clothes when they were going to platform 9 3/4. When they ran through the platform and went to the Hogwarts platform, they went from street clothes to school clothes.
Yeah, so they had the robes that they wear as school clothes.
Right. That was actually really great.
And all of their stage ninjas, anytime they were in the magical world, they would have stage ninjas that had these cloaks on, and they would throw the cloaks up. They were full circle cloaks, and they would throw the cloak up so that it sort of hid what they did, along with changing the lighting.
Right.
And I think that was overdone just a little bit, because it got to the point where you're like, okay, we see your cloak.
Right. I think that was sort of a way to kind of like jazz it up. Like there's some, obviously a frustrated choreographer on the show who's like, we could make this really dancey. And
they did a lot of stuff that was very dancey.
Right.
Too,
But mostly it was sort of like in between scenes, and because there was so much setup involved that they had to do what we like to call diversionary tactics. And we've used this too in our shows when Colleen and I have done Lux Theater shows, where we direct the audience to something else while we reset whatever we're going to do. And so they would do this where they would have a lot of characters come out and do this sort of like synchronized marching thing, or we would have the stage ninjas. And these cloaks that Colleen are talking about are a very light fabric. So they would throw it up over their heads, and then it would kind of like float down and swirl. And it was very, they were very kinetic and active. And it was, but they would also be moving a table, which is like not exciting. And so it was obviously an attempt to make this boring scene change kind of stuff very exciting. And there's no way to do that. It's not. And it called attention to itself by all these flourishes.
Yeah. But even that being said, it was a pretty long show. It was 3 hours with one intermission.
It was.
Wow.
So,
but
long
we stayed
time
awake. I
to
couldn't
be in
believe
the
it.
Seats, but an enjoyable show if it weren't for, the legacy,
the
that
baggage
is
that comes with it.
Yeah.
And it's it is definitely kind of a problem. But the cast is huge. In fact, the cast is so huge, and there's like here's a picture of like the cast on one page, and that's not everybody. They're so huge that they didn't give you a scene breakdown, because usually they're like, act 1 scene intermission, act 2 scene They didn't do that at all, because there's just no room in the playbill.
I feel like they also wanted to keep that as part of the reveals, things that they did, because there is a note in the program that says, if you don't want to be surprised by things, don't read the cast list, because the cast list says who they're playing, and there are some people who are surprises, so you don't necessarily want to do that. And Sean's showing everybody the cast list, so you won't be surprised.
Whatever. But mostly I'm showing you the spoiler alert thing in the corner.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think it was fine. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen. Here we go. Yeah, it was pretty enjoyable. And like I said, this was not, it wasn't a thing we set out to see. It's not like we're like, oh my God, we have to see Hamilton, or we've tried to see Wicked for years and failed.
I haven't tried very hard to see Wicked.
If they had Wicked instead of this, that I would have been perfectly happy with that. But that said, it's also really interesting to see this very complicated show that our friend worked on Broadway, and that part of it makes me happy.
Nice.
So, and Hugh's not listening tonight, unfortunately, but I need to send him a message and corner him and ask him what cool things he worked on when he did that. But oh God, I couldn't imagine having to come back for a second night of that, which I think they're still doing. They're either still doing it in Tokyo, or they're still doing it on the West End in London. I think it's probably London, where they're still doing these 2 nights. And that also has to be grueling for the actors. It's
totally.
It's like, doing 2 different nights of Shakespeare, like one after another. And you're like, okay, which one am I in? Which one am I doing? What's the, But, yeah, it was an entertaining thing. And, I'm glad we went. And there have been a lot of places that we've gone to where I was not glad we went. We're like, oh God, that was awful.
The one we went to on your birthday was pretty bad.
What was that one?
It was the
Saving Neverland.
No, it was the
Finding Neverland.
the Bodyguard.
Play.
Oh, the Bodyguard.
musical that was
Oh,
a musical?
no.
Not to be
different one.
confused with My Bodyguard, which is what I thought it was.
No,
when
no,
we
no.
first got the
It was
tickets.
The Bodyguard, which was the Kevin Costner movie with Whitney Houston, done as a musical, and it was not good. And okay, one of the things that really blew my mind about this touring production is their set was fantastic, and it was huge, and it encompassed the entire area of the stage, including coming all the way to the proscenium, which had a really great arch and stuff. There was a lot of stuff there. And when we went to see The Bodyguard, in a lot of cases, they just kind of went, "This is the back wall of the theater. Deal with it." This is part of their set. And it was just awful. I'm like, really? You couldn't like throw up a curtain or something there, make it look a little nice? It's just really dumb. It's like they phoned the whole thing in.
Boo.
It's not funny.
Do we want to move on to Star Wars?
Yeah, before we do,
Oh, yes, so-
I'll just jump in and say I actually took a little time off today to work on my car, which I haven't done in a while. I took apart a whole bunch of razor heads that I had around, and I added a bunch of stuff detailed to the back end of my car, which was kind of
Nice.
nice. It's only one of those things that you'll be able to see when you're standing next to the car. It's not anything you'll notice while driving behind me or anything, but I feel better for having done a little bit something, because I haven't done anything in a long time. So,
Boo.
go me.
Yeah.
All right, Star Wars. What we got?
Yeah. Okie dokie. So we have the birthdays to start with. We have 3 of them. The first one is, excuse me, February 22nd, 1938 is when Barry Dennen was born. He played King Ramses Dindup in the Clone Wars, which I'm not totally familiar. I can't remember where that even was. But he also has, golly, only 138 out of the credits.
And
137 out of the
some of
credits.
these are great.
so-
Some of his credits. He was Pontius Pilate in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar in 1973.
Yeah.
He was in Fiddler on the Roof. He was in The Dark
Yeah.
Crystal. He's got some good credits.
Amazing story. See, it's amazing stories.
And a
So,
lot
yeah,
of
he
lot
had
of
a
video games.
Yeah. Kentucky Fried Movie. Well, I remember that.
Oh, what did
Yeah,
he play in the
geez.
Kentucky Fried movie?
It's insane. Yeah. Claude Lamont. But yeah, it's nuts. How much he's, he was one heck of a busy guy.
Yeah, wow. I mean,
A lot of voice acting too.
yeah, Batman the Animated Series, Wing Commander, if you remember Wing
Yeah.
Commander, Grim Fandango did a bunch of voices in that. Yeah, that's his pretty amazing career.
Molly. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy about that.
And I'm like, I have
cool stuff.
I have
Good
no
gravy.
idea who he was in the Clone Wars, though. But he was in the Adam West
I don't remember
Batman.
the character. Yeah. It's just it's what does it say?
I mean, King Ramses Dendup
what was it
sounds like
from?
somebody phoned in naming that character. Just saying.
I don't remember the episode, and I can't say I totally recognize the character, but I did find him. Interesting. Okay. Let's see here. Birthday number 2. We have February 25th, 1938. And that is when Malcolm Tierney was born. He played Shan Chidzin in A New Hope.
No, see, because he
Um,
never had a name in the movie. He didn't get a name until they made an action figure or something of him. He's the guy
Yeah.
who looks like Rutger Hauer and says, "Where are you taking this thing in the detention center?"
Yes.
That's how we know him, because he didn't have
Exactly.
a freaking name.
No. And then he had 91 other credits. So I mean, yeah, it's nice to see when people have a lot of credits. It's sad when they only have like a couple.
Yeah.
But
I mean, but
wow.
if that's all
was
the
in The
work
Saint.
they wanted to do. Yeah, The Saint, he was in Braveheart, Doctor Who,
Yeah.
the podcast he did. He apparently seemed to like disaster movies because he was in Hindenburg,
Yeah.
Titanic of the Skies, and then he was in The Unsinkable Titanic.
Well, you have to diversify a little bit,
Right.
The Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby.
Yes. Our last one is last birthday is February 21st, 1950. Larry Drake. He voiced a character named Kazdan Paratas in The Force Unleashed. So he was in the video game.
Okay. Larry Drake,
Unleashed.
I know without having to
Yep.
look up.
Yeah.
So
Dr. Giggles and
he was
everything else, Darkman.
Yeah, he was in Darkman and he was in L.A. Law. He played the autistic guy in L.A. Law,
Yeah.
which was cool. And apparently, he was in The Karate Kid in 1984 as Yahoo #1, and now I want to find him in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Yahoo #1. I mean, yeah. I remember it's like I remember a lot of the roles he did. I think the mostly because I watched a lot of Sam Raimi movies, is because he played, the bad guy in Darkman,
Right.
Durant. So,
Well, and he played
but, yeah.
he played a not bad guy in Firefly. He was in the Shindig episode of Firefly, and he was one of the snooty, rich, elite guys who was helping Kaylee out in the episode. So
In which episode?
Okay.
Shindig. He was
Sir
at the
Warwick,
he was at
Sir
the ball.
Warwick Harrow.
Yeah.
That's who he played.
So it was nice to see him play somebody nice for once. But he played a really good bad guy. He was really good at it.
Oh yeah. So, it's just tons and lots of voice too. So he was pretty busy.
Sweet.
Pretty busy guy. Got 83 credits. Not bad.
All right.
All right, and then we have the rest of the regular news stuff that is not birthdays. February 23rd, 1980. That's when Mark Hamill guest starred on The Muppets with his cousin, Luke Skywalker.
His cousin Luke Skywalker. What did they sing? When You Wish Upon a Star? Was that the big closing number?
I think that's what they did. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
I'll have to
fun.
watch it again.
With Chewbacca and R2 and 3PO. Because
Yes,
they were
yes.
filming The Muppet Show
Because he brought out
in
Chewbacca the Wookiee.
England,
Yeah.
and The Muppet Show was right there, so it was really easy for them to just go over and do The Muppet Show.
Yeah. February 26th, 1984 is when A New Hope aired on CBS and got 36% of the TV audience.
Is that all? I feel like that should be bigger.
It's like, and it's 84. I mean,
Yeah.
I wonder if did it air before that?
It
or
did.
did it actually literally take that many years to get on TV?
No. But it aired
So,
before.
dang.
But what it did, so like here in Los Angeles, it aired on TV, and on TV was a set-top box that did pay-per-view, and so they did this fascinating thing. They aired it over on TV, and then if you wanted stereo, if you wanted quality sound, you tuned in to like 95.5 KLOS or 97 like KMET or something like that, and you could hear the movie in stereo, which was in like good quality broadcast sound instead of your tinny little speaker. So that's the first time I saw Star Wars on TV, and we had the presence of mind to get some long play audio cassettes and record the sound off the radio, which was amazing. As a kid, I was like, oh, this is so cool. But I think it was 1980 when they did that.
Yeah.
And I think that was about the first time Star Wars aired on TV was through these pay-per-view things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. But yeah, I understand. Only because nowadays it's a lot shorter time span.
I know, right?
Yeah. Our last bit of history, February 27th, 2000, is when the Magic of Myth Museum tour opened at the Smithsonian in Minneapolis.
Cool. I think it debuted in 1999 at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And then it started to tour.
Yeah.
I think Colleen and I ended up seeing it
We saw it
3 times or something.
San Diego.
We saw it in San Diego.
And then we saw it in Chicago.
And we saw it in Chicago. And I feel like we saw it in one more place. But I don't remember what that third place might be.
So the tour schedule was
I do
the
not know.
Smithsonian from 97 to 99.
Right.
The San Diego Museum of Art from 99 to 2000. The Minneapolis Institute of Arts from February through June of 2000. The Field Museum in Chicago from July through January of 2000. July 2000 to the beginning of 2001. Museum of Fine Arts Houston from March to June of 2001. The Toledo Museum of Art from August through 2001 through that January. The Brooklyn Museum of Art from February 2002 to June. And Powerhouse Museum in Sydney from September 2002 to February 2003.
Wow, they shipped all of that to Sydney? That's crazy.
Yeah. But that answers the question that we did not see.
Yeah, we only saw it twice.
Location.
And the reason that I'm glad you checked is because we've done so many different Star Wars museum exhibits that they all kind of mush together in my head. Because we did the Where Science Meets Imagination exhibit that started in Boston, came to L.A., bounced around the country, and I remember seeing that in a couple of different places too.
Was that the one we did up in San Jose? Or
It
is.
is.
A different one?
Yeah. And so, like in California, we did 3 exhibits of that. We did the California Science Center, we did the Discovery Cube in Santa Ana, and we did the Tech Museum in San Jose.
So the magic of the Where Science Meets Imagination went to a lot more locations.
Yes.
I'm not going to read the dates.
It was a smaller exhibit.
But it went to Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles, California, Fort Worth, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Philadelphia, St. Paul, Sydney, Australia, Melbourne, Australia, Anchorage, Alaska, Huntsville, Alabama, Lafayette, Louisiana, Seattle, Washington, Houston, Texas, Santa Ana, California, Wichita, Kansas, Orlando, Indianapolis, and San Jose.
Wow. Yeah, that was crazy. And we did such a good job here of populating the exhibit at the California Science Center that Lucas gave my number out whenever it went to a new location, where if they wanted to talk about how to integrate fans, costumers into their exhibit, they could call me and talk to me, which was crazy. And so we would do these conference calls with like Lucasfilm and me and the museum, and it was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Super cool though, and you know we had a great exhibit here.
The thing I remember about the Star Wars Magic of the Myth is that Sean was so disappointed about not seeing it at the Smithsonian, and
really
was delighted to see it at the San Diego Museum of Art, where he discovered that the Princess Leia slave girl costume was on the mannequin backwards.
Right.
And so he told the people at the museum, and they said he had to contact the people with the tour, and so he did. And then we went to the Field Museum in Chicago, where it was still on backwards.
Right. And So I think I have several copies, in fact, of the museum book, the guide from it. And they're like, it's not backwards. They set it up this way. It's perfect. They know what they're doing. And I opened the book to the page of the Leia costume, and I showed it to them. And I'm like, this is what it's supposed to look like. You have a photo guide of what this is supposed to look like. Tell me if it matches. And they're like, nah, that doesn't match. I'm like, yes, her butt's in front. Turn it around. It's like, come on, your guys are the pros. And I gotta say,
and to clarify, backwards, it was the bottom half of the bikini that was backwards.
yes. So
the top half
butt was in front.
was very clearly where it was supposed to be.
I mean,
it was
yeah,
the bottom
the top
piece.
would have been real obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that exhibit was so great, and so
It's the top of the hour, Sean.
we got to do a whole like 3 months of working with that exhibit at the Science Center, which was neat. You guys are listening to sci-fi.radio. Sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. That is a handy-dandy URL. You can go over there for nerd news and things like that. We got a whole bunch of news stories up there. If you want to check them out, we got a bunch of trailers in our trailer park, some videos of the day that are fun and entertaining, and all sorts of things relating to your areas of interest. We broadcast on that station 24/7. I'm their morning guy, so I'm there from 9 to 11 Monday through Friday, and you're always welcome to tune in then. And we've been doing this show over there for years and years and years and years. If you're watching us, if you see our faces, you are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube or Twitch. We appreciate you doing that. If there's a way to like or subscribe or do whatever, no hard sell here, but it does tell us that you came by, and that makes us very happy. So please give that a shot. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jess Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And unseen, behind the scenes, is Kit, Boba-Kit Sovine, who does all of our cool show document and runs the Docking Bay 94 Facebook page, where she posts all the news stories that we're talking about, and also the, jokes and cartoons and trailers and funny stuff like that. So she largely maintains that, for which we are very grateful. So thanks, Kit.
Yeah.
Are you all done talking about the Star Wars exhibit?
One of the cool things about the exhibit being in San Diego, and it was a little bit of a trek, but we did go down there quite a few times to see some of the lectures they were doing, which was cool. And the lectures that we had for Where Science Meets Imagination, we had to create. Like, I was doing science lectures and things. That's where my Yoda puppet came from, because we were giving science lectures as Yoda. I don't know if Gregor is still on the chat, but we would take the elevator up to one of the floors. We'd go down to 1 or up to 2 or whatever. We'd get in the elevator, stand right next to the door with our sabers lit, and the doors would open, and we'd storm out of the elevator with the lightsabers going. It was very funny, especially because we were so disparate in height. Because Gregor's like 6'5" or 6 or 7, and I'm like, 5'4", 5 or 6 in boots. It was pretty funny. But we had so much fun, and it's definitely one of those high points that I'm going to look back on in a long charity career, that I feel like we really, and I say we, I mean we must have had like 50 people in costume over the course of 3 months to come out. But we kicked butt, we took names, and we really did a lot for the Science Center. And I'm really pleased that we were able to do it. The whole exhibit was amazing. Yeah. So, but there's also a lot of photo galleries out there and a lot of videos out there. So if you missed it, you can still go find it and kind of get a feel for it.
Cool.
Gotcha.
There was a trailer for the next season of Andor, which starts on April 22nd. I neglected to watch it.
Woohoo!
What did you guys think of it?
Dun, dun.
It's a teaser, so it's
it's A lot of walking.
Right. But I think it looks pretty good. I'm trying to
Yeah.
call it up here so I can at least run it in the background, except the ads are getting in my way. Boo.
Yeah.
But let me... And also, the one thing I didn't like about the trailer seems to be what a lot of people didn't like about the trailer, which is the music, which you heard just a little bit of there. Yeah, there's... it will not let me show this. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of walking around. You see a lot of the characters that you hope will make a return. And I think that it's going to be good if they can, maintain whatever they can. I was kind of hoping, and of course I'm sure this is not a thing that they would want to spoil, but I was kind of hoping that we would see I'm still trying to get that trailer for you. I was hoping that we would see Andy Serkis show up, because he was such a great character.
But we don't know whether he survived.
We don't, and that's the thing. Here you go. Here's all the walking. I finally got the trailer going. They ding us if we play the sound,
Yeah.
But it looks pretty good. We were promised, and there's only like one quickie scene in here of an Imperial security droid, but we were promised that we were going to get K2SO and that introduction. So I hope that that's still the case, because I think that would be pretty great.
Yeah.
Look like the Matterhorn behind him there.
Right? There are so many.
It's a possibility.
There are so many characters in this upcoming season that are like repeats from other stuff. We're starting to blend into Rogue One. We saw Krennic in there, which is good. It looks like Deirdre's back. And so, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for it because it was such a high point in the sort of Disney oeuvre. I can't imagine it's going to be worse. And the visuals, look amazing. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But we know it ends badly. So
yeah.
What are we gonna do? But April 22nd is when that comes out on Disney Plus, which means if you haven't watched Andor season 1 or you've forgotten about it, you have a little time, because it is like 12 episodes or something, and
something.
Now that they've established the universe, I don't know that they'll do this as much as they did in the last season. One of the things I really liked about season 1 was that every 3 episodes you got a new genre. And so you're like, this is the espionage section of it. This is the, assault on Navarone section of it. This is the prison break section of it. And so Star Wars works best when it's ripping off other genres, and Andor did it well. So,
yeah.
Is it really ripping off other genres, or is it just exploring them?
Well, I mean, it's using them as a base, which was what the original Star Wars movies did too, where it's they.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's a lot of kind of tropey stuff in there.
I feel like you can really rip off a whole genre. You're just setting something in that.
Yeah, I don't know, because I look at Mandalorian, and Mandalorian totally looks like a spaghetti western ripoff to me. And it's not bad. I love The Mandalorian. I think it's great. But, it's basically, they said, what if Star Wars was a spaghetti western? And that was its whole identity to start. And then it got off to its own stuff. So, I mean, homage is probably a better word than ripoff.
Yeah, let's go with homage.
But taking that kind of, theming and applying it to Star Wars always works really well.
And
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith is turning 20. Don't we all feel old?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, at least it's not 30.
So in May of 2005, Colleen and I were driving our way across the country to Indianapolis, Indiana for Star Wars Celebration 3. We didn't go to the first two. Colleen promised I could go to the third one. And so we abandoned the people in line at the Chinese theater and drove all the way to Indianapolis with a couple of other Road Squadron people. We met Katie Horn there, and she was the co-founder of Road Squadron. She was in Seattle. I was in L.A. We were both making Star Wars cars. We'd never met in person before. And we hadn't met most of the other Star Wars cars that were there, which was really kind of interesting. So that was kind of a key moment. The first time Road Squadron ever displayed anywhere. And mostly I remember the weather about that trip because it was beautiful when we arrived, and then it was rainy, then it was slushy, then it was snowy, then it was beautiful the day we left. But that's what we did 20 years ago as the movie was getting ready to debut at the Chinese theater.
Gotcha.
And I can't believe that was so long ago already. I was like, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it doesn't seem that long ago, right?
Yeah. Putting it in terms of when we took that trip makes it, because I'm like, oh yeah, the movie came out 20 years ago, whatever, but we took that trip 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Got one foot in the grave, man.
I know. Well, it's probably the one I broke when we got back from that trip.
Yeah.
I slipped off a curb and I snapped my ankle the night we got back. Welcome to L.A. Here's a cast for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Gosh, yeah. And I've every once in a while pictures from that trip come up, and I'm like, God, we are so young in those pictures.
Yeah. I think the first movie that Rose saw was like probably Phantom Menace. I think
In theaters.
it came out what, 99 or something.
99, yeah.
2001. Yeah. So I think that was the first one Rose would have seen, if Rose even would remember it, being like 4.
That was it.
So.
If Jeff doesn't have any memories of Revenge of the Sith, we will.
I went to the theater and saw it. I mean,
We'll move on
that's
to
about it,
Hasbro
really.
Star Wars Fanstream reveals, which are a bunch of toys. The end.
Yeah, I'll
Star
run
Wars
through them
toys.
really quick for you. I'm having
Panda, is it Panda Baba that gets his arm cut off?
yes, it's
The Panda Baba toy, I think I like the best because he comes with a removable arm.
Well, and he's fascinating, and the reason why I'm actually
Awesome.
going through all of this, because they did something really interesting with him. I'm having trouble with Facebook actually, where my Facebook headings all seem to be in like Arabic or something, which is weird.
Weird.
Like, did I get hacked? What the hell?
Is
happened?
all of the language in Arabic too, or just the headings?
Seems like it.
Just the headings.
Weird.
Like if I look at the somebody's gallery of pictures, it'll be like 4 and
Yeah.
then some Arabic stuff after it and things like that. It's really bizarre. All right, so hang on. There we go. Here's the thing. So they've got some kind of interesting figures that they're doing. These are all the mostly 6-inch figures that they're doing with old school
Yeah.
packaging. And so we get this guy who's the Imperial Super Commando, kind of an interesting thing. And, troopers are always really cool. There's like those. There's a Clone Series, Black Series helmet coming out, which are the helmets you can wear with sound
Nice.
effects. They're usually about $100.
Sweet.
And this has a very 501st clone trooper look to it. These are the ones they sell at Disneyland as well. Moma Nadon is the what we used to call Hammerhead. So that's
Yeah.
that guy, and he's in
Nice.
his character bio. There's like he had a secret garden in the mountains south of Mos Eisley. It's just like, okay, sure. The write-ups for these are really terrible. We get Moff Gideon in his Dark Trooper armor, which is pretty cool. If you're a fan of Mandalorian, he looks pretty menacing. And with the 6-inch ones, they're adding fabric like the capes and stuff like that. Let's see, the Praetorian Guard, which was from The Last Jedi, I think. So he was pretty cool. And then there's this guy. And so the reason that I think Pondo Baba is so cool with this thing. So of course he gets his arm cut off. Haha, funny. But there was a continuity error involved in the movie with Pondo Baba where he had two different sets of hands. One of them looked like horses' hooves, and one of them looked like furry ape hands. And so what these guys did
I remember.
is they have included these two different sets of hands. So they've got like the sort of horse's hoofs thing where they've incorporated fingers into it so he can actually hold a gun, because the way they were in the movie, he could not hold a gun, and that was the problem. So when they cut his hand off and you see his severed arm over here, they had to change the hand from what you saw in earlier scenes, because otherwise it didn't look like he could hold the gun. And so that was pretty good.
Cool.
So for this action figure, they give you both sets of hands, which are pretty cool. I thought that was extremely clever, and if one of those if you know
that's
you know
the best thing.
Kind of a deal. And then we're getting a throwback to the action figure packaging that we had in 2005. This is what all the figures looked like back then, so 20 years ago, except these are the 6-inch action figures. And as a result, the sculpts on these are really good. I mean, this really looks like Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And I'm super impressed by that. It's
looks
Hasbro's
like Arnold
really
Schwarzenegger.
been on the ball for a lot of this stuff. And then they're doing some fun things where they've given his lightsaber like a swooshy look to it. There's a regular one and there's a swooshy one. And that's kind of cool. Give you a little more action stuff. Let's see. Kit Fisto gets his figure. We get an R2 unit that has lots of extra arms, which are very cool. Although this one looks like he's holding a gun. I'm sure it's like a grease gun
totally
or
a
something,
blaster.
but it looks like a blaster, which is really funny. And then, of course, he gets the disappearing, reappearing rocket jets, where it's like, wait, he had rocket jets? Why didn't he have those in episode 4? He totally could have used those.
Yeah.
This is the one that seems weak to me. This is an Andor figure.
Yeah, I figured that's what it was supposed to be, but
This doesn't look like Andor to me at all.
no.
It's like, I don't know who it looks like, but it's not Andor. It's really weird.
I couldn't say,
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. But
I mean,
as a
Their Dooku looks like Schwarzenegger, so got me there.
Oh, I thought Dooku looked pretty good. I thought it looked a lot like Christopher Lee. And Krennic looks good. Here's Krennic. He looks just fine. So anyway, Hasbro's, mostly on their game. And all of those figures are coming out. I can't remember the last Star Wars figure I bought, though. I just... I've had other things to spend my money on, I guess. So I still like my old figures. I just haven't seen any new stuff I want to get.
Yeah. I have to gray my hair a little bit.
Is that Lara that says it looks a little like Jeff Krennic? That's pretty funny.
I have to let my hair go back to gray to do it.
That's right. Well, what's funny is that Jeff actually dresses like Galen from that movie. And so, and Christina does Lyra, which is cool. You guys don't have a Jin. You're too bad. Your kids are too old.
I mean, there are a few people that do Jin, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like young kid Jin to match your characters.
Yeah, no. I know they'd be perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, if you like action figures, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming. I can't think of an action figure they could do that would sell me. I think the last Star Wars action figure I bought was from the Obi-Wan series, and it was like 2-3 years ago on clearance.
Oh.
Whenever that series came out. So.
Yeah.
Moving on to theme parks, the Orange County Register readers will be delighted to learn that DisneyForward has pitched an Encanto ride. Everyone else just has to wait for that to come through because we can't read the article.
Yeah, we're all hosed because OC Register.
Yeah.
And no one has said anything about it anywhere. They just say, hey, the Orange County Register says that there's an Encanto ride being pitched for Disneyland.
Right. They're like, here's a link.
So I feel like this is a rumor.
And
yeah.
there's an article that Kit posted that does give you a little bit of a look at it. But this says, I thought we said that it was going to be in Disneyland Forward. But this says that it's Walt Disney World in Florida. So
Our link is talking about California, and the Orange County Register is talking about California. So I think you're looking at something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's one for KTL. KTLA has an article too. It probably could read that one. That might be the one.
I mean, it
says
says
the one the kid's talking about.
It says both, but the way this article, which is from like 5 days ago, says the world's first Encanto ride set to debut at Walt Disney World in Florida offers a glimpse of what the future could hold for the Disneyland resort over the next couple decades.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And
So basically, that's probably what the Orange County Register was saying, was that they're doing this ride at Disney World. Maybe we'll get one in California, too.
right, and so there's a
Rumor.
so many rumors this week. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is a picture of the sort of land
I found an old article. Never
area
mind.
that they're doing. Yeah, I keep finding old ones too, Jeff, which is a
Yeah.
bummer. So let me get rid of that. So I mean, it could be really cool. I still think that they should have turned the Zocalo into Casita in
Me too.
Frontierland. I think that would have been amazing. But if they want to put it somewhere else, that's fine. And there are a bunch of pictures of concept art that's going to be at Animal Kingdom is where they're doing this. And so it's like they're building a whole
It kind of seems fitting in Animal Kingdom.
town. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And
it's back behind the Brazil area or something.
Yeah,
the
you know,
Indiana
and
Jones place.
Casita, it's pretty enough. It looks cool enough. It could be, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But here, wait a second. There we go. Get a little bit of a more space here, and they'll have the, characters and whatnot. So it looks like your typical ride through story ride, like Snow White, and Peter Pan and that kind of thing, which is fine. I mean, they could do some cool, magical, nifty stuff.
Yeah.
This also says that in Animal Kingdom they're going to do an Indiana Jones attraction.
Yeah.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. They were. Yeah. They're just going to repurpose the dinosaur ride because it's virtually the same thing.
Right. Exactly. So.
Sean, you want to move on to the next, the Rest in Peace section?
Surely. Oh my gosh, it's been a heck of a week, and like on a personal level, we've lost a whole bunch of Rebel Legion folk, and things have been absolutely nuts. And in fact, this list looks longer than I remember it being before we first started the show. Peter Jason, who's a character actor, passed away at the age of 80. He was in Deadwood and Prince of Darkness and 48 Hours and things like that. He passed away from cancer, and John Carpenter gave him a tribute, said he was a dear friend, I'll miss him terribly. And he was friends with Ed Asner. Ed's son, Matthew, offered condolences and stuff. And he was, what did he do recently? Like Hail Caesar. But he was in They Live and Alien Nation and Brewster's Millions and just all sorts of stuff. Gunsmoke and Golden Girls and Amazing Stories and Mad Men. A busy guy. Lynn Marie Stewart passed away at the age of 78. She was the most beautiful woman in Puppetland. She was Miss Yvonne in the Pee Wee Herman verse, I guess, for 40 years. Died at the age of 78. And regardless of what else she did in her career, that's enough, right? Although she was in the Elvira Mistress of the Dark movie as a bartender, I think. And but just every time Paul Rubens needed her, Pee Wee Herman needed her, she was there. And she was, just a ray of sunshine. So very sad about that. Roberta Flack passed away at the age of 88, probably best known for the song Killing Me Softly, which was resurrected by the Fugees a while ago, and did well twice. So, but she also did The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, and so she had a couple of Grammys under her belt, and I think she had originally wanted to be a pianist or something, and then ended up doing singing instead. And when she did The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face and Killing Me Softly, she won back-to-back Grammys over 2 years, which was the first time anyone had done that. And so that was pretty good stuff. But a huge long career, and very popular in the 70s. This one was kind of a surprise. Michelle Trachtenberg passed away at the age of 39. You know her, of course, from being Harriet the Spy. She was in Gossip Girl for a really long time as a sort of the aggravator person. And she was Buffy Summers' little sister, Dawn, in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She apparently had had some liver issues and was not doing particularly well. Her fans were particularly brutal in recent days because her illness made her rather thin, and they were giving her crap about having facelifts and stuff, and she's like, "It's my face, deal with it." So my point being, be nice to people. You don't know what they're going through. Don't accuse them of weird stuff like that. And she was in Euro Trip, if you remember the movie Euro Trip, which sort of put her on the map for a certain age of people, which was pretty funny. She was a big flirt in that. I had a weird situation where I saw her in a magazine shoot on the cover where she was trying to shed her kid image and be a grown-up, and it was a little shocking because you're like, but she's a little kid. Nope, not so much. Anyway, big surprise that she has passed at such a young age. Adam Kreutinger passed away, apparently. We don't have a ton of information on it, but it has been announced that he did pass away. He was a big puppet guy and was an artist as well as a puppeteer, made all sorts of terrific stuff. And he had cancer for a while. He had a GoFundMe that was happening, and apparently between the cancer and the pneumonia that he got, we lost him today. So that's pretty sad news as well, because I don't think he was that old either. And then we all kind of woke up to the news today that Gene Hackman passed away at the age of 95, along with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, who was 63, and that their dog also passed away. And one of the things that has been a little confusing about this is the gas company has come in, and you would think, since they were found during a wellness check and nothing seemed to be awry, that maybe it was like carbon monoxide poisoning or something like that. Apparently not the case, and they're now starting to do a deeper investigation on their behalf to see what was going on with them. It is a bit of a mystery, and it's gone from being something very benign to something that they're now having to actually investigate. So we'll see how that all turns out. But nonetheless, Betsy was a classical concert pianist, and she's been with Gene Hackman for 30 years, I think, and they've been in New Mexico, I think, for 40 years, if I remember correctly, and they've been, I think for the past 20 years, Gene Hackman has largely been retired. And so he's pretty much done everything he needed to do, and they were just living a nice kind of quiet life out there, which is very sad that it has both ended for them and for their pet. But more information as we get it. I had the gas provider, which was New Mexico Gas Company, did not find anything about a gas leak and didn't find anything about...
2 hours ago, the New York Times reported that pills were found around the bodies.
Right, and that's what I'm looking at now.
Boy.
And so, and there was since this was a wellness check, people hadn't seen them for a while, and so they've been gone for a little while. But there was a prescription bottle on a countertop in the house with pills scattered around it, which they discovered with a search warrant. And they were all in different rooms of the house. And so they're not really sure what's going on, and they're trying to piece that together. Regardless, Gene Hackman leaves an amazing body of work, everything from being sort of an everyman kind of a guy to being president of the United States. Of course, we love him for being Lex Luthor in the Superman movies, and for an absolutely genius and, I believe, uncredited performance in Young Frankenstein, where he was the blind hermit that the creature ran into and just gave, in like 5 minutes, this tour de force performance, because he just wanted to try comedy. Anyway, there's nobody who had an unkind word to say about Gene Hackman. We're very sad that he's passed away. And then just something on kind of a personal note for Star Wars fans. Sandy Bergeron Casella passed away due to cancer at the age of 44. She was one of our really high-profile Rebel Legion people, a consummate cosplayer. She was at every Star Wars convention that she could make her way to, did a lot of Dragon Cons and things like that. Her husband announced that she had passed away. She's been sick for a while, and she did She did everything. She was Queen of Thermosira. She was in 300 costume. She did Blade Runner, Ren Fair stuff, just all of this kind of stuff. She's one of the people that gets credit for building the Leia metal bikini community, and has been doing Dragon Con just for absolutely ever. So sad news to hear of her passing, especially since we had another fan passing last week, and this is it's a little too much in too short a time, I think. But we knew that she was sick, and we're glad that she's out of pain for sure. And the interesting thing about cosplayers when they pass, their legacy that's left behind are all of these pictures of them in costume, which is fascinating because you have so much documentation of these people. It's kind of crazy. So we've got lots of pictures of her in better times. So, but if you knew her, our condolences. She was a sweetheart and somebody that she was one of my convention friends. I saw her when I went to conventions, and beyond Facebook, but. Very sad to hear of her passing.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, do you want to start the speed round?
Okay. If you liked Hawkeye, the series Hawkeye is which I did because I loved it. Then you'll know that the actor Tony Dalton that played Jack Duquesne. Jack Duquesne, I think it's supposed to be pronounced.
Uh-huh.
And he was the
swordsman, right?
He was the
He was the swordsman?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is the fiance of or ex-fiance or whatever if you now of Eleanor Bishop. And he was, I think he was like one of the funnier parts of the series was his character. So he's going to be playing at, I think, 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, the new Daredevil series. So they're bringing him in. He's a new MCU guy brought into the show. And the other one is Kapoor. I can't remember his first name. Who played Yusuf Khan. He was like Kamala Khan's father.
I liked him.
He's going to be in it as well. Yeah. Well, Mohan Kapoor. So, although it doesn't say how many episodes he's in, but yeah. And so I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it has a bunch of people coming from the series beforehand too, so it'll be fun. It's probably not the right word to use, but fun. It'll be violent, but yeah.
Right.
But I like the character that he played, so it'll be neat to see him again. In the comics, the swordsman, the MCU took a detour. In the comics, the swordsman is the one who taught Clint Barton how to fight with a sword. He trained Clint. But in the MCU, that didn't happen.
All right.
So there you go.
Sean, you have a speed round topic?
Let's see
Speed
here.
round topic?
Oh, sorry, I have Twitch going and it just kicked in. I did want to say before I did the thing, Lisa, who used to do CSI stuff, was talking about how it was mentioned that that Gene Hackman's wife had sort of a mummification thing going on. He was like in a mud room and she was in the kitchen, and they said something that was like quote unquote mummification, which is kind of vague. I was wondering if, because she was found next to a space heater, and I was wondering if that heater was on, in which case it could have sort of desiccated her a bit.
I think she was in a bathroom, not the kitchen.
And that, I heard it was a kitchen and she was near the pills, but...
Maybe I'm wrong.
Anyway, not to get too gruesome, but I feel like I was trying to do this in text and I couldn't quite make it work. So I feel like if that were the case, if that heater were on, then what they're calling mummification could easily just have been that the heater was on for a while. So
The gardeners reported that the last time they had seen them was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yuck. Not good. Let's see. So
Yeah. I just want to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The AP reports that he was found in an entryway and she was found in the bathroom.
oh,
A space heater was next to her head and may have fallen when she abruptly dropped to the floor. And there was a German Shepherd who was found in a closet or a kennel, or maybe a kennel that was in a closet that was also dead. But there were 2 dogs that were at the house that were still living and were fine. So like one inside and one outside.
okay.
But again, they don't know what happened.
Weird.
Yeah.
Here in the United States, we're having an issue with the cost of eggs because a lot of our layers have had to be destroyed because bird flu is kind of running rampant. We've lost more than 1 million birds, and it's impacted the whole egg industry, which is trying to, ramp itself back up and get back on top of it. Until that happens, various locations like Waffle House, which has about 2,000 locations across the United States, are starting to add a surcharge to meals that contain eggs. I haven't seen anything that very specifically says that they're doing this. If you order like pancakes or waffles or something, it takes eggs in a batter or whatever. But if you are getting an omelet or you are getting a couple of eggs sunny side up, they're going to charge you, like 50 cents or something as a price bump for eggs. It's really vague, and it varies from market to market. I think they're letting various areas change that price based on what they're getting charged for eggs. I think they're currently at about $4 or $5 for a dozen.
Haha.
Right.
They are not.
Are they higher than that? Have they gone up to like
At Kroger, they are between $8 and $9
8
a
and
dozen.
9? Okay.
Yeah. You can get different
grief,
prices at
people.
different places, but when we were at Yummy a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago and you said, "Oh, it's only like the eggs are $5." I was like, "Buy them. Buy
Right.
them now."
Yeah.
That
They're
is so much cheaper.
I think they were $4 at Trader Joe's by us.
Yeah, but they're
But you
at
can
Trader
only buy like
Joe's,
one carton.
You're
Yeah,
allowed
you
to
can only
buy one
but
carton,
it's
and you
it's
have
a
to
dozen for $4.
be there when they put the eggs out.
Right. Or they're gone.
Same thing with Costco. Costco has really great prices, but you have to be there first thing in the morning, or you don't get any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
not
we just
willing
got
to.
some.
I'm not willing to go to Costco
This
first thing
afternoon.
and like beat my way into a crowd of people for some eggs.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
We got our dozen about say 4:30 or so today from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, Trader Joe's
They were almost
doesn't.
gone though.
Right, Trader Joe's doesn't put things out like first thing in the morning the way that Costco does.
Right.
Trader Joe's puts stuff out like whenever their truck comes in, and their trucks come in at different times.
Yeah.
We talked to one of
And
the
it's the one per household thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to one of the sales guys at Costco, and they had flats of 24 eggs, I think, is what they were selling, and they had a pretty great price. It was like $6 or something for that. But you did have to get there first thing in the morning, and the guy's like, it's not worth it. It really isn't. If you want to have an easier time, go down the street and take your luck at Vaughn's or something, because it's just not worth the fight that happens every morning over the eggs.
It's not even just the having to get at Costco, while people are waiting to get in the morning, but it's also that people are actually fighting over the eggs.
Right, which is nuts. So Waffle House added a 50-cent surcharge per egg to its menu. Denny's has done the same thing.
Yeah.
Waffle House has like 2,000 restaurants. I think Denny's has something close to that. And of course, in the United States, they're scattered all across the country. So if breakfast is a staple of these places, and so far we haven't seen anything like International House of Pancakes or anything like that who are jumping on the bandwagon for that. And there was one place,
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was, but there was one place very specifically said they were not doing that, like McDonald's or somebody.
It was
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because I was like, but their eggs don't taste very good.
right.
So.
They could be powder.
But I mean, I
That's
don't think
probably why.
Starbucks is doing that either. A
Yeah.
surcharge.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with it, but the price of eggs has been such a huge story around here for so long. I know it's not very science fiction of us to talk about it.
As of today, IHOP has not announced an egg surcharge.
Yeah, so
Hooray!
we'll have to see. But yeah, as far as McDonald's goes, I'm not a big fan of like their egg McMuffin. I'd rather get the thing from Starbucks. But if you're worried about an extra 50 cents an egg, Denny's and Waffle House might not be a good destination for you.
Yeah. Jeff?
The awful house. So I like this news, although it's rather vague. We finally got some more news about what's happening with Moon Knight. And they talked to Brad Wunderbaum, who's a Marvel TV head, and he says that they aren't planning on making a season 2. That what they basically said was that the series was more of like a tie into the future. We're introducing you to the character, blah 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 kind of thing. He's for future use, and that they have plans for him down the road, and that's all he says. And so I'm assuming that means not really TV plans, but I know that Oscar Isaac would like Marvel to make a film based on, I guess, the game series and such called Midnight Suns, which had the Moon Knight in it. But I don't know if that's ever a thing. But either way,
I felt like the
at least they
series
said
was
something.
only supposed to go for one season, and that was it. I don't remember them really setting it up for like the next season.
They gave you the final shot of his final personality, so to speak,
Right.
and that's really the teaser for the following storyline or season or whatever.
It felt very
So
definite to me. But I don't know if they want to
Yeah.
do a movie or
So who
something,
knows?
maybe.
yeah, I'd like to see him again. It'd be fun.
I have something that's not on our list, and that is that
Oh my gosh.
there is going to be a Star Trek Con audio drama miniseries based on a story by Nicholas Meyer.
Okay, and when you say Khan, you mean Khan.
Yes.
Khan, okay.
Yes. Star Trek, like Wrath of.
Right.
And starring as Khan will be Naveen Andrews.
Now, that's an interesting choice.
Although his name here is Khan Noonien Singh.
Yeah, that's the same guy.
Oh, okay.
It's the same guy.
Yeah.
They just don't use his full name generally unless they're talking about the whole eugenics problem that he created.
When he's shouting his name, Khan,
Right.
that's the famous thing. But I love Naveen Andrews, so
Yes.
and you might know him from Lost, or from Bride and
Yeah.
Prejudice.
Right. Naveen,
I said Bride, not Pride.
right. Naveen Andrews is really good, and Nicholas Meyer is a terrific storyteller. He did both Star Trek II, which gave us the great Khan movie episode, and then later on he did one of the movies I got to work on, which was Star Trek VI, which is also considered to be one of the better Star Trek movies. It has a good story in it. He's a good storyteller, so whatever he comes up with, I think, will probably be pretty good and true to the universe.
So it says based on a story by Nicholas Meyer,
Yeah.
but it is written by Kristen Beyer and David Mack.
Okay.
So it could be just based on the story that's the same Star Trek 2.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
It's sort of the George Lucas based on characters and
Yeah.
situations created
Right.
by. Although, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to find out, I suppose. But it would be interesting if Nick Meyer were involved. I don't know. He is still with us. He is 79 years old. So he could potentially be involved.
Right. Sean, what do you want to talk about?
This is kind of a weird situation that is causing a lot of consternation among the cosplay and craft communities. If you do historical recreation or if you do sci-fi costuming or whatever your bag is. We talked last week or the week before about how Joann Fabric went into reorganization. They went into Chapter 11, and they were supposed to reorganize and figure out how they were going to come out of a drop in business. They haven't been particularly busy. People aren't making as many things as they used to. Of course, they had a big boost during COVID, and things got really sluggish after that. And they've also had supply chain inventory issues. So they are, instead of reorganizing and reopening, they are now officially closing. Lisa says over on the chat that you have until tomorrow to spend any gift cards or store credits you have, because those are going dead as of March 1st. They are still selling things online, so you might be able to use that online, but I don't know.
Not after tomorrow.
Not after tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. But the difficulty with all of this is this. My mom used to work for Joann's. She has horror stories about how mismanaged they were and how terrible they were. They had other friends who've worked for them, and they echo those same sentiments. And so as a company, they were never really managed or run particularly well. And in our neck of the woods here, and I imagine it's the case elsewhere, a lot of the smaller mom and pop shops got put out of business by the big giant of Joann's, that was their goal, was to come in, stomp everybody else out of existence, and be the only place to go for all of these things. And there's all sorts of documentation online about that, various interviews and discussions with people where they're like, we want to put all the other fabric stores out of business. And that really kind of makes me sad because we had some great independent fabric stores, mom and pops places, and Colleen and I were discussing this earlier. We are very fortunate living in Southern California. We are a port town, city, really, of course, but a port town, where everything comes in and stays in the city. We have a garment district here. If you watch some of the fashion reality shows and stuff, and you hear about things like Moon Fabrics and whatnot, we have those places here. We've got a fashion institute that borders on our garment district, and you can find just about anything you want if you have the time and energy to go fight downtown Los Angeles.
And the ability to get there, because it's not
right. It's
yeah.
taking
like
a bus or
for me personally, if I want to go to the garment district to do any shopping, even if I just want to go to one store, I would have to take, if I went on a weekday, I would have to take a half day off work.
Yeah.
It's not just something where you can run to the store and get back.
Yeah, it's a huge issue. And we were also discussing how most of Joann's was not even sewing anyway. It's like 40% of what they had was maybe sewing stuff, and the rest of it was, crafting and garden decorations. And
the quality of the items that they had wasn't good.
No, it's dropped quite a bit.
I will say that
over the years.
I reposted something that someone had written, which basically says all the things that Sean is saying, and that that's how I felt about Joann's too.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
But I feel bad for anybody who doesn't have anything but Joann's in the middle of the country, and everybody's going to have to get their stuff online, which is so much harder to do.
There are people who are angry that article is going around.
Yeah.
I'm sure also with me, because I posted it as well. because they say we don't have any compassion for people who live in places that Joann's is their only source.
Well, and that's not true.
So I feel like I have compassion, but maybe I don't show it enough or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's nothing you can do, I think, that will adequately show that you do have compassion, because we are not as impacted by this as other people.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a bit of a problem. And a lot of the places that are online have managed to survive in spite of Joann and whatnot. Those places are going to stay. I'm hoping, and it'll take a few years for this to happen, but I'm hoping some of the mom and pop places resurrect. We used to have a we used to have a fabric store in our local mall.
Yeah. And I feel like we will get smaller places back, and probably as a large city, we're likely to get them sooner. And we also have fabric stores here. Most of them cater to quilters, so they're not going to carry the stuff that I necessarily want. But at least there's, emergency go get something places. But I feel like it's going to be probably a decade before these little places start happening again. But who knows with the way things are going in the United States right now.
Well, and here in Los Angeles, we had a supermarket strike, and it was difficult to get into the supermarket. A lot of the workers were outside picketing. They would stare you down if you went in to buy something because, you needed some eggs or some milk because you were in the middle of making a cake or something and you needed more stuff. It became really hard to go to the supermarket and inconvenient. And so a lot of people started going to Trader Joe's. And Trader Joe's stepped up and expanded what they carried, started carrying more staple items, and became much more of a grocery and less of a snack location. It used to go for like cheese and wine and nuts.
Candy.
And candy down to Trader Joe's. And now they offer everything. Maybe some of those quilting shops and things like that, or some of the sewing machine shops that do repairs and things, will start to offer a wider selection of things, knowing that they are not fighting with Joann anymore.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens.
They're going to be stuck with Walmart.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, Walmart has a pretty good emergency sewing place, but it's not great for everything you're doing. But they've got a little bit of fabric and they've got all the thread, and you can probably get a zipper or two down there. But I know that our Walmart, which is 10 miles away from here, has a pretty small sewing section. Yeah. And they're not conveniently close.
Walmart doesn't have a big one.
I think that there's going to be a lot more online shopping too.
I think so too. And like I said, we're really fortunate here in LA. I do feel bad for everyone else around the country.
It's also hard because with fabric, it's not like you're buying widgets. If you don't know the way that the fabric feels, the hand of the fabric, then it's really difficult. And I've been burned, and I've had to because I didn't take the time to purchase a swatch, and I bought fabric online, and it came to me, and it was very much a different weight than I thought it was going to be. And I went ahead and made my costume anyhow, but it's not the prettiest costume, and so I don't get picked to do things when I'm wearing this costume because they're like, oh,
right.
That one's too happy hands at home.
Well, yeah, we all have that problem, I think, too. We make costumes that people just don't care about.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be badly made. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Glad you like it.
My costume's not badly made. It's just that the fabric is very much heavier than I had hoped.
Well, it will all sort itself out eventually, but I do miss our little local shops, and I miss some of the chains that we had too that weren't gigantic chains, but
like House of Fabrics.
House of Fabrics was great,
and the chain down in San Diego that just went out of business a couple of years ago.
So
there's still a store in Anaheim, which is M&L. Fabrics
Yeah.
are still there.
Yeah, M&L's
So-
pretty
Yep.
good. It's in an old
So,
supermarket.
Orange County's
Which is fun. We used to have F&S Fabrics, and they closed their Fabrics and Notions thing in favor of keeping up their upholstery and home fabric
That was
store
another
open.
one.
And I'm hoping maybe they will reopen their fabric store now that they don't have to compete
Yeah.
with Joann's. So we'll see.
Yeah, there was an old one I used to go to with my parents, but I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. Orange County, but
Yardage Town. That was the one I was trying to think of.
Oh, in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to get some good wool there.
Yeah.
It was a great place.
Yep. It's 9:00.
It is.
Yeah.
If you guys have been listening to us on sci-fi.radio, you must be super smart because there are no pictures going with this. And we appreciate your sticking through with us doing all of that. Sci-fi.radio is our actual radio station URL. You can go check that out. And we always have news stories up there, trailers, videos of the day. A lot of stuff we talk about on this show is up there too. So do go check it out, see what's going on. And if you're feeling a little generous and you like this show or anything else we play, we've got a Patreon button up there.
Yeah.
And anything you guys contribute to that keeps our station manager from digging into his pocket, which he's had to do lately. We're not a pirate station. We license all our music. And that can cost us a bit. If you can see us, and you have seen the pretty pictures, such as we are, you are checking us out on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. YouTube, they're always up there kind of ad nauseum. So if you ever need to refer somebody back to one of the shows that we did, go ahead and refer them there. That's always pretty good. And beyond that, I guess we will do all of this again next week.
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
this is Jeff Soledado.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always,
May
the force
be
be
with
with
you.
you.
Force be with you.
Give a little credits here to you folks over on the video side. Bye, TV people.